Five and dime stores were once the heartbeat of American shopping, places where you could buy toys, candy, or household goods for just a nickel or a dime. These stores defined daily life for decades, especially in the 1950s and 60s, but today they're nearly extinct. So, what happened to five and dime stores? Let's break it down, starting with the biggest name everyone remembers: Woolworths. Woolworths, officially F.W. Woolworth Company, led the five and dime pack. Founded in 1879 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, it offered a simple idea: sell everyday items at fixed low prices, 5 or 10 cents. By the 1930s, Woolworths had over 2,000 stores across the United States, from bustling cities like New York to small towns in Ohio. You could find toys like Slinkies for 49 cents, school supplies for a nickel, or a grilled cheese at the famous lunch counters for under $1. These counters, with their spinning stools and soda fountains, were social hubs where people grabbed a milkshake or swapped stories after shopping. Other chains followed Woolworth's lead. Kresge's, started in 1899 in Detroit, was another giant, with nearly 1,000 stores by the 1960s. It stocked similar goods, candy, sewing kits, records, but leaned into urban locations, often near theaters or offices. Ben Franklin, launched in 1927, targeted small towns, offering franchises that felt like local treasures. By the 1970s, it had over 2,500 stores, selling everything from kites to dishware. McCrory's, founded in 1882, was smaller but still hit 1,300 locations at its peak, known for budget clothes and holiday decorations. These chains, especially Woolworths and Kresge's, were names your parents or grandparents knew by heart, places they visited weekly. Five and dime lunch counters were more than places to eat. They were cultural landmarks. Woolworths led the way, with counters in nearly every store by the 1950s, serving cheap eats like hot dogs for 25 cents or cherry phosphates for a dime. Kresge's and McCrory's followed, offering similar setups where families grabbed lunch after shopping. These counters, with their chrome stools and paper menus, drew everyone: teens sipping milkshakes, workers on lunch breaks, even civil rights activists. In 1960, the Greensboro sit-ins at a Woolworths counter sparked a movement, showing these stores were more than retail. Footage of those counters, from old ads or newsreels, still evokes the clink of plates and buzz of conversation. But as fast food chains like McDonald's grew in the 1970s, lunch counters lost their shine, unable to compete with drive-thrus and bigger menus. For many, they remain a symbol of community. Five and dimes were famous for their oddball products, stuff you couldn't find anywhere else. In the 1960s, Woolworths sold pet rocks for $1, plastic flowers for $0.25, and mood rings that claimed to read your emotions. Ben Franklin stocked quirky toys like clackers, banned later for safety, while Kresge's pushed novelty items like lava lamp knockoffs or fuzzy dice for cars. These goods, often under $1, fueled impulse buys. Kids grabbed wax lips, parents snagged kitchen gadgets. Old catalogs show the variety, from yo-yos to sewing kits, making these stores a goldmine for budget shoppers. But by the 1980s, dollar stores and big retailers like Walmart offered similar items cheaper, and five and dimes couldn't keep up. Those quirky products, seen in retro ads or shows like Happy Days, still spark memories of rifling through crowded aisles for a steal. So why were five and dimes so popular? They solved a problem. Before big box stores, most Americans shopped locally, and department stores were pricey or far away. Five and dimes filled the gap with affordable goods for everyone. A kid could buy a comic book with pocket change, while a housewife picked up thread or a spatula. Prices stayed low because stores bought in bulk and kept overhead simple. No fancy displays, just packed shelves in modest buildings. In the 1950s, when $1 went far, these stores were a lifeline for working-class families. They also sold seasonal items, like Halloween masks or Christmas lights, making them a one-stop shop year-round. But cracks started showing in the 1960s. Inflation was the first hit. By the 1970s, rising costs meant stores couldn't sell much for 5 or 10 cents anymore. A candy bar might cost a quarter, and the 5 and dime name felt outdated, though chains kept it for brand recognition. Customers still came for the nostalgia, but the low-price edge was fading. Competition delivered the next blow. In 1962, Kmart, Walmart, and Target launched, kicking off the discount store era. These giants built massive stores outside towns, offering lower prices than 5 and dimes by leveraging huge inventories and cheaper land. Kmart, for example, grew from Kresge's own playbook as the company shifted focus to these bigger stores. By 1987, Kresge's 5 and dimes were gone, replaced by Kmart's sprawl. Malls also hurt, drawing shoppers to flashier Sears or JCPenney stores with parking lots and food courts. 5 and dimes, stuck in aging downtowns, couldn't compete. Urban shifts made things worse. In the 1970s, as families moved to suburbs, downtowns where 5 and dimes thrived started to decline. Stores relied on foot traffic from nearby shops or theaters, but when those closed, customers vanished. Rising rents forced chains to shut smaller locations. Woolworth's, despite its size, struggled to modernize, sticking to outdated stores while competitors like Walmart expanded. Pop culture kept 5 and dimes alive in memory. In the Wonder Years, Kevin Arnold's small-town life feels tied to places like Woolworth's with its familiar counters. Grease captures the vibe with diner-like scenes, echoing 5 and dime lunch counters. Even music, like Bobby Darin's Splish Splash, nods to jukebox moments in these stores. The end came fast. Woolworth's closed its last 400 U.S. stores in 1997, unable to match Walmart's prices or Target's trendy appeal. McCrory's went bankrupt in 1992, shuttering most locations. Ben Franklin filed for bankruptcy in 1996, though a few franchises lingered. Dollar stores like Dollar General took over the budget niche, but their sterile aisles lack the charm of a Woolworth's candy bin. Today, 5 and dimes are rare. A few Ben Franklin stores survive in rural spots like one in Independence, Iowa, selling crafts and retro toys. They couldn't keep up with a changing America. But their legacy lives in the stories of candy counters, lunch stools, and childhood treasures. If you enjoyed this nostalgic deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe for more retro content, and share your favorite 5 and dime memory in the comments. Did you buy a toy at Woolworth's or eat at a Kresge's counter? Your story might inspire our next video. Thanks for watching.